Tonight on The Roast, Barack Obama cancels talks with the Russian president because of Edward Snowden, and French farmers smash eggs. But first, let's go to Mark Humphries for The Roast's continuing coverage of the federal election campaign.
Former Queensland Premier Peter Beattie has chosen to re-enter politics as a federal Labor candidate in the seat of Forde, presumably because he's been suffering from high self-esteem. Also, Labor MP Anna Burke has told a public audience her party's stance on asylum seekers has left her questioning her membership, saying,
"Sometimes I even wonder why I run for the Labor Party."
Come on, Anna, you remember why? Free government pens! In other election news, there's been a flurry of conspiracy theories, with questions being raised about why Deputy PM Anthony Albanese was photographed having a beer with embattled MP Craig Thompson. So while Anthony Albanese described the encounter as a personal chat over one beer, opposition leader Tony Abbott said,
"The Deputy PM was caught negotiating with one of the independents in a Sydney bar last night."
So if one drink equals a negotiation, Lindsay Lohan must be a chronic negotiator. And in response to media interest in the photo, Albanese joked, "Hold the front page, Albo likes a beer after work." A joke that went over the heads of the editors at the Daily Telegraph who ran the story on the front page. Albanese then played down the meeting, pointing out it's not the first time he's fraternised with politicians outside his own party, saying, "I will give you a big scoop. I have had a beer and been to the footy with Joe Hockey as well." But since having gastric band surgery, there won't be any more big scoops for Joe Hockey. Jazz Twemlow likes a good conspiracy theory. Jazz, what happened?
Albo and Tomer were cutting deals.
Evidence to support this?
A shit photo.
Compelling. So what does this mean?
Albo wants Craig Thompson to be PM.
So you think you'll vote Liberal now?
You bet.
Thank you, Jazz. But that wasn't the only conspiracy theory, as Kevin Rudd has accused Tony Abbott of being in cahoots with Rupert Murdoch over plans for the National Broadband Network. You may recall that Jazz Twemlow likes a good conspiracy theory. Jazz, what happened?
Abbott and Murdoch sleep in the same bed.
Evidence to support this?
Tony Abbott's NBN policy was launched at Fox Studios.
Yowzers, so what does this mean?
Rupert Murdoch is the real leader of the coalition.
So you think you'll vote Labor now?
You bet.
Thank you, Jazz. Julie Bishop offered her opinion on Rudd's theory.
Well, I'm actually worried about Kevin Rudd's state of mind. I think he's lost the plot.
Interesting thought from the Deputy Opposition Leader there. Which brings us to our segment, Is Our Prime Minister a Nutbag? Jazz, is our Prime Minister a nutbag?
You bet.
Evidence to support this?
Dressed up as a Nazi for the front page of a newspaper.
That's a Photoshop.
So our Prime Minister isn't really a Nazi?
The Daily Telegraph isn't really a newspaper.
Maybe I should start getting my news from facts.
Well, in the words of Dolly the Sheep, that makes two of us. For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Thank you, Mark. Well, besides Murdoch's alleged influence, is there any other reason why the Daily Telegraph front covers currently appear even more ridiculous than usual? Well, it might have something to do with the New York Post editor-in-chief Cole Allen, who has temporarily returned to Australia to spend the next 2 to 3 months at News Corp advising CEO Kim Williams on editorial strategy. In other words, he's been hired to spend the next 2 to 3 months standing next to the graphics guy and yelling, "Bigger swastika, bigger, like this." So for more on the man who'll be launching Photoshop Molotov cocktails at the ALP this election, let's cross to Nick Richardson.
You may not know the name Cole Allen, but if you've ever vomited in your mouth while reading a newspaper headline, then chances are you're well acquainted with his work. Highlights of his career include raising the tone of American politics with the New York Post's front cover, Osama Bing Wanking, publishing a cartoon that depicted President Obama as a dead chimpanzee, and wrongfully identifying 2 suspects of the Boston Marathon bombings on the grounds of appearing ethnic while wearing a backpack. But unfortunately, Allen's career has also had some low points, like when Channel 9's Sunday program quizzed him about why an article written about him was titled "Pissing in the Sink."
What did that mean?
It meant that I occasionally pissed in the sink.
In your office?
Yep, that's Cole Allen.
Yep, glad to have him back. Well, next up tonight, President Barack Obama has cancelled high-level talks with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, citing disappointment over Russia's handling of the Edward Snowden affair. It seems Obama doesn't like it when Putin takes his stuff and then won't give it back. Still, up until now, President Obama had been acting as if the whole Snowden affair wasn't really a big deal, saying things like,
no, I'm not going to be scrambling jets to get a 29-year-old hacker.
Especially since hackers know how to take down jets. But in reality, Obama was upset that Team Edward went and told the whole world about the whole hacking the world thing. And so, like all good Americans, he went on live national television and talked about his feelings. Specifically, his feelings towards Russia.
There have been times where they slip back into Cold War thinking and a Cold War mentality. And what I consistently say to them and what I say to President Putin is, that's the past, and we've got to think about the future.
Now, I don't know if Putin was watching Leno last night because he's more of a Conan guy, but let's face it, late-night talk shows are no place to talk about international diplomacy.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around, we've got a great show coming up. Miley Cyrus is here, and we've got Robin Thicke performing live in the studio. Seen that music video? Whew. And we'll be talking civilian deaths and drone strikes with the President of the United States. All right, take it away, Jimmy.
For more on this, Clark Richards filed a report investigating how Edward Snowden ruined the relationship between Russia and America. Just repeating that, Edward Snowden, this is all your fault. If nuclear war breaks out, that's on you. Anyway, let's take a look at what Clark made.
Okay, I've got it, Obama. Dear President Putin, stop. Give us back Edward Snowden. Stop. I don't like it. Stop. 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 All right, you can count on me. I need to get to Moscow. The world depends on me. Gotta save the world. I'm gonna be honest, Putin. I know Obama pretty well. We're on a second-name basis. He's not gonna like this whole thing about granting Snowden asylum. Okay, it's your funeral, mate. I can't tell Putin that. He's a nutbag. Is that gingerbread? Well, Obama told me to tell you he isn't going to talk to you during your little talks this weekend. I warned you, Putin. This is the last time. God damn it, Snowden! If there's another Cold War, I'm coming for you!
Oh, we're not paying for those flights. Yeah. Finally tonight, a small number of French farmers smashed 100,000 eggs, or 8,333 dozen, on a road in Brittany overnight to protest plummeting egg prices and increased production costs. Reporting on the incident, in which the streets ran yellow with yolk, the AFP did everything it could to invoke the spirit of the French Revolution. But no matter how many terrifying adjectives they used, a group of rogue French farmers on a furious egg-breaking rampage just didn't have the Les Mis touch.
This is egg 24601. This is egg 24602. And it's getting really tired.
Well, he'd better hit the gym, because like an egg-obsessed Bond villain, the farmers threatened to continue to destroy 100,000 eggs every day. 100,000 eggs a day? That could cause some real oh wait, there's more. Continue to destroy 100,000 eggs every day until Sunday. Until Sunday, right. Well, that's less of a threat. That's more of a standard working week. But the farmers say they're doing this because overproduction has pushed egg prices down, and so the group called for France's entire egg production to be reduced by 5% to help raise prices. And when that didn't happen, they destroyed the 100,000 eggs. It's just like that classic children's book, The Goose That Laid the Golden Egg, then smashed it to secure a 5% national reduction in golden egg production. In addition, the farmers also asked the government to set up a specific area for eggs to be destroyed.
Hey Tom, they're looking for a specific area? How about the stomachs of homeless people?
I guess that could work.
I mean, people wonder why there's an asylum seeker problem in this country. Maybe it's because starving people see stories like this and say, hey, wait, they have too much food in first world countries and it's so cheap they can just throw it away in the street? I mean, here I am deciding how to survive without eating for another week, and over there they can just afford to destroy food to make it more expensive? I mean, what the am I doing here when I could be in France dancing in the delicious quiche-lined streets of the Promised Land?
Well, it's really more of a protest.
No, Tom. Protests are supposed to be symbolic. I mean, you got too many eggs, you get someone to dress up like an egg and recite beat poetry before getting pepper sprayed. You don't destroy all the eggs. Protests shouldn't be literal. We don't protest population growth by smashing 100,000 newborn babies' heads into the ground.
Oh, thanks, Nick, for that visual. Now for a local view on the events and to divert attention away from what Nick just said, Dave Ferrier is currently in France covering the egg-smashing protests. Dave, what can you tell me?
Tom, I can tell you I'm outside a pig farm.
Okay, this is a story about eggs, though.
Yes, 100,000 of them, just out there, cooking on that hot summer road, just frying in that delicious northern French heat.
Yep, and what's that got to do with pig farmers?
Well, all right, between you and me, if I can convince these farmers that pork is too cheap, then maybe they'll join the protesters, and you know what that means.
Solidarity.
It means eggs and bacon on the road. Bacon and eggs, if you will. It'll be like Willy Wonka's breakfast factory.
Okay, sorry, so you're attempting to manipulate French farmers into providing you with a free meal?
Well, at least the food won't go to waste.
Yeah, that is true.
Now, if I can just work out where they grow baguettes.
Grow baguettes? What an idiot. It's not baguette season. Good night.
This is egg 24603. This is egg 24604. This is egg 24605. It is really weird being a French farmer.